Barcelona have beaten Viktoria Plzen 4-2. It was a match where I would say, yes, Barcelona played okay, but if you look at the scoreline, you would think that Barcelona played amazing, but we did not really get that against Viktoria Plzen within our last match in the Champions League. So we did not have the best performance. When it came to the goals, it was amazing. The movements of the players, the speed of the ball, all of that was okay. It was very, very solid. But when it comes to the defense, it was very concerning, because if you look at what Viktoria Plzen had within this game and the amount of chances they had on Barcelona, it was a lot. Viktoria Plzen had a total of 22 shots while Barcelona only had 11. And then we also look at the amount of shots that were off target by Viktoria Plzen. They had a total of 6 and Barcelona had 4. Viktoria Plzen yet again had more shots on target than FC Barcelona. Barcelona had 7 and Viktoria Plzen had a total of 8. And another very interesting stat about this game is that Viktoria Plzen has experience. They had way more shots within this game against Barcelona than any other match within their Champions League campaign. So this was considered as their best performance of this season. So I would like to think that Xavi is working on this, because the fact that Barcelona had so many shots like conceded against them, it was really, really bad. I was even surprised to see Viktoria Plzen score 2 goals past FC Barcelona. Barcelona were supposed to go into this game and come out with a clean sheet, but we did not see that. Viktoria Plzen looked very, very alive. Now, when I do say that Xavi should be thinking about what's actually going on here, we're not necessarily talking about Barcelona needing a overhaul or needing to change all of the tactics defensively, because if you look at who started within that defensive line, it was Jordi Alba, Marcos Alonso as the center back, Gerard Piqué as another center back, and Bellerin as the right back. What this is telling us is that Xavi needs to work on having a greater bench, a better second team, another B team that is much stronger and is able to compete offensively and defensively, because of course Viktoria Plzen found it so easy to find all of these shots and all of these goals against a defense like this. This is what I would call a finished defensive line and finished players like Jordi Alba, Alonso, Gerard Piqué, and also Bellerin. So like I've said, Xavi Hernandez really needs to work on seeing who they could sign to strengthen that defense, and again have a very strong bench. Our A team when it comes to our defense, it is Koundé as our right back, Ronald Araujo, Christensen as our center back duo, and Alejandro Balde as the left back. A defensive line like that, it is world class. It is a defense that can compete against any team in Europe, but behind that, behind those players, it is not the best. And if a situation like this is not assessed in terms of like trying to find other players to back up these 4 players like Koundé, Araujo, Christensen, and Balde, we're going to continue to be like sweating against those low level teams. So let's say, for example, right, this is just an example, if Ronald Araujo gets injured again, we want to be able to put a Van Dijk within that position. If Christensen does get injured, we also want to be able to put in someone like Diaz from Manchester City. Or if Balde does get injured, we also want to be able to put in someone like Alphonso Davies within that position. So again, this is just an example. I'm just trying to give you guys a understanding on how strong Barcelona's B team should actually be, because things like this is very, very unacceptable. Like for example, you look at this game, right, and you go on the 49th minute, we saw Piqué and we saw Alonso try to head the ball together at the same time, and that is how Barcelona conceded that penalty and Viktoria Plzen found their goals. They looked very disorganized. So those are going to be my quick takes when it comes to the overall match. It was not like the most exciting game. Again, Barcelona played solid offensively but horrible defensively, and what we're going to be focusing on is talk about the 2 takeaways from this game. But before we go into any of that, I do want to speak about our sponsor for today, and that is the OneFootball app. If you guys want to find out where I do get my information from in order for me to build these videos, when it comes to the stats, the formations, or any transfer related news, all of that is compact within the OneFootball app. If you guys do want to download the OneFootball app, you can so by clicking on the link down below on the pinned comment or in the description box. It'll take you straight to the app store. You can download the OneFootball app. It said exactly who and what you do want to follow. So let's say you want to follow Lionel Messi or Neymar or Kylian Mbappe or Lewandowski, or maybe you want to follow a team like Barcelona, Manchester City, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. You can do that within the OneFootball app and be informed immediately and live on your phone. And the best thing from all of this is that it is for free. So again, if you do want to download the OneFootball app, it will be there down below and the link will be clickable and accessible. But now let's go back into this video and let's talk about the 2 takeaways, because the one player that I do want to focus on, it is going to be Ferran Torres. Ferran Torres was brilliant within this game. He has scored 2 goals against Viktoria Plzen, and in the past month we have seen the best version of Ferran Torres, and his goals were outstanding. You look at the first goal, Raphinha made that long pass, Jordi Alba heads the ball into the box, Ferran Torres receives it and he scores the goal. It was a very Barcelona type of goal, and Ferran Torres added that extra touch. You look at the second goal, Ferran Torres dribbled past 4 players, making all of of these slick moves. He passes it towards Raphinha. Raphinha passes it back with his left foot, and then Ferran Torres takes that touch on the ball and puts the ball behind the net. It was again a very, very solid performance from Ferran Torres, and I think that we're going to continue to see the best version of this player for the next few months. And one thing that really does impress me the most about Ferran Torres and what he usually likes to do, and I think that this is the reason why Xavi Hernandez has signed this player, is his off the ball movement. Now, what do I mean by this? Ferran Torres, you can see here on these frames, is trying to make space for someone like Bellerin, and Bellerin is trying to dribble into the middle of the pitch. You look at that space that he does find right there in the middle. That space was created by Ferran Torres. This is again one of the reasons on why Xavi Hernandez rates this player so highly. Yes, we know that goals and assists are very important, but when it comes to stuff like this and to see players make spaces for their teammates, it is amazing. Ferran Torres is able to kill teams like Viktoria Plzen, and in situations like this, when he does make these runs, it is exceptional. I remember Lewandowski having an interview before this game, and he was talking about how he loves to score goals, he loves to provide assists. It's what's talked about the most, and he understands that. But what he really also likes to do is make those runs, to make those spaces and take other players out of position in order for their teammates to go into those spaces and score the goal. And Ferran Torres just happens to be the master when it comes to things like this. Now let's move on towards Pablo Torre, which is going to be the second takeaway, because I think that this player is here to stay. He made his debut in the Champions League. He has had his first start for FC Barcelona within this game, and finally Xavi has been, dying to give Pablo Torre the minutes, right, the starts, and he has finally been able to do that within this game. Like for a second there, we felt like this situation was never going to arrive, right? The perfect situation for Pablo Torre to enter and start in a game, but we did see this against Viktoria Plzen, and on this day, right, within this game, he has also scored. So he has had a great debut, and I think that Xavi Hernandez is going to be very happy on starting Pablo Torre because he played exceptional. He also had a very beautiful goal. He basically shot that ball so hard that it almost looked like a rocket, and it was amazing. Now it's unfortunate that right after he scored that goal, he had to go down because apparently it was like an injury, but only for Barcelona to announce, and many reports to say that Pablo Torre did not experience an injury. He was just experiencing some sort of like overload, but nothing serious. Pablo Torre is okay. But going back to that goal, it was quality, right? His ability to control the ball after seeing that beautiful long pass by Raphinha, and then to put that ball into space and score that goal in that fashion, it was again amazing. I want to see more of Pablo Torre going through this season because Gavi and Pedri, they're not always going to be there, right? There is going to be moments where one of these players are going to get injured, or maybe they're experiencing fatigue or overload, and that is where Pablo Torre can come in. Now here's the thing, right? Do I think that Pablo Torre is going to make it to the Spanish national team and go into the World Cup? I don't think so. Maybe if he performed like this in the very first game of FC Barcelona and continued to have great games and was scoring about 1 goal every 3 games and 1 assist every 3 games, then yes, there was a possibility. But because the World Cup is only about 2 weeks away, Pablo Torre is not going to be making it. I think that after this World Cup is over, knowing that Gavi and Pedri are going to be playing every minute under Luis Enrique, his necessity is only going to grow. I think that Pablo Torre is going to be having way more games, way more minutes in the second half of this season, and it should be very, very exciting. So those are going to be my takeaways, right? We had a few players that really stood out. I do also have honorable mentions, like for example, Iñaki Peña. Iñaki Peña was amazing. He had so many saves. I felt like Viktoria Plzen could have scored so many more goals, but because Peña was like on his A game, he basically saved FC Barcelona. And of course he had saves like this because we saw him in the previous season when he was facing Barcelona at the Camp Nou. He has also had a performance similar to this. So we do have to shout out this goalkeeper. Maybe in the future we can see Peña replace Ter Stegen. And then we move on towards the second player, and that is Raphinha. Raphinha should be on the honorable mention list because he did provide 2 assists. I think what really does suit him when it comes to his role is that he's able to be very inverted and be very efficient, right? I think that yes, when it comes to him playing out wide and making those crosses like what Xavi has been doing with his player, he does very solid. But when he comes inside and he's acting like the Lionel Messi of this team, he makes amazing long passes that are very sharp, and it's one of the reasons on why Pablo Torre was even able to score. If we look at the average position of Raphinha, you can see that again, he was much more inverted, almost taking the spot of Gavi. You can see that Gavi is number 30 in the middle of the pitch, and then you can also see Raphinha right next to him, who is number 22. So he did have a great performance, and I would like to see him play much more centrally to see what he could do. So that is going to be wrapping up today's Barcelona post-match review. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.